Would you like to be better at Doom? Brag to your friends about how you've beaten Plutonium at 32 without dying while having proof? Take part in yearly competitions to win prizes? Or simply improve at your own pace by using a curated list to help you build up your dooming skills? If you've said yes to any of these questions, I welcome you to the Doomed Index. Also, the video is going to be a lot more chill now, I promise. This is a website located at doomedindex.com and it is hosted by Kinetic. It contains a list of Doom challenge maps that are ranked by difficulty tiers based on how hard they are to UV max in a single segment. So that means 100% kills and 100% secrets without any deaths. This image here shows a really nice overview of those difficulty tiers, ranging from the very accessible beginner to the nearly impossible doomed. And the map next to each tier is considered somewhat of a poster child, giving you an idea of what to expect. So Plutonium at 32's Go To It is pretty much a perfect example of a beginner map, and the same goes for Occuplock in the Doomed tier. The index contains a lot of maps, and you can find all of them by going to the Doomed Index section up here. The maps are neatly categorized by the color of the respective difficulty tier on the left. So as we saw in the previous image, red stands for Doomed, orange stands for Legendary, then you have Elite, and it goes all the way down. And then below each map there are different tags, 3 of them in total. The first one shows the estimated length of the map when you are going to do the UV max. It ranges between 0 to 10 minutes, if you hover over this one for example, 10 and 30 minutes, between that 30 and 60 minutes, or 60 plus minutes. So in the case of Occuplock, definitely 60 plus, right? Then the second tag shows if there's any platforming, so for Occuplock it will be easy platforming. And then the third tag shows if there are any tricks you need to do. In the case of Occuplock, it will be a line skip, presumably for the Revenant Snake fights. And then for this one, for example, it could be an Archvile jump, a rocket jump, whatever. But it's really nice that it's there, because it allows you to select a map based on what you're good at, or maybe things you want to avoid. Now, luckily, if we scroll all the way down, in the fair weather and the beginner category, most maps are very straightforward. You can see a lot of them are on the shorter side. There are also longer maps like Valiant, map 27, map 31, but pretty much none of these, with a few exceptions, need any platforming or special tricks. And you're going to recognize a lot of these maps here. They are very well known. For more info, you can either scroll all the way down or click on this handy Jump to Tier List info button. That brings you down here and it gives you more info about the index itself, also the difficulty tiers, including the point values, which we'll get into in a bit. Then the tags that we just talked about, length, platforming and tricks, but also the different genres that a map might be a part of. So there's macro slaughter, the player actively kills very high volumes of monsters, stuff like that. And if you want to know what genre a map is, or perhaps multiple, you go to the list, you click on an individual map for more info. Let's say Valiant map 31, which is Cyber War, very well known. And then you get a bunch of info here. Map name, release date, who made it, skill saw, the comp level. This is very useful to know. If you don't know anything about comp levels, don't worry, I'll explain more about that later. And then the difficulty, the tags, easy platforming here. The genres are right here, so in this case macro slaughter, because there's a high volume of monsters indeed, and open combat, because you don't get limited to small arenas, for example, in this one. Then the description, who maxed it, and then if there's one available, there might be a UV max video, which you can use to maybe learn some strats, maybe prepare yourself a bit. If there's no video available, you could always download a player's demo, so it basically repeats their inputs on your client, and then you can watch it back that way. If you don't know how to do that, we will also get into that later in the video. So, why would you do this? Well, if you go to the players page here, first of all you get a nice points conversion chart, and then if you scroll down, there's the player directory, shows you everyone who has participated so far on the index, and also the total amount of points. I'm pretty sure there's going to be an update probably in the future where you can maybe sort it by the point amount, so you can see who has the most. So for Shock Blast has a lot, and Calagon has even more. If we go to Crusader, 94,000, which is crazy. Yeah, lots of active players on here. And then if I go to the end here by using the arrows, and I go to my name, you can see my total stats, which is really cool. This has been added in the latest update. So it shows you the total amount of maxed index maps and the percentage. So I'm not even at 1%. I have UV maxed more than this, but I have not always recorded a demo, either because maybe I did it before the index was there, or in the case of like some of the haste videos, I just forgot to do so. I hope to do so in the future though. shows you the lifetime points. So here is where the points come into play. We saw the point values earlier. A Doom map, I think, was 8,000 points, so crazy amount. Bounty claims, which we will get into in a bit. And then the index maxes by difficulty, nicely sorted by the colors again. And then here are the individual maps. And for me, it's a nice spread. There's beginner one map, fair weather, recruit, marine, and jaded. And Frog and Toad map 10 is that platforming one I did a while ago. So I think for the vast majority of people, this is the main reason to start indexing stuff. That's what you call it. It's a very nice tool to keep track of how much you've improved, how many maps you've beaten. You can use it as proof that you've actually done it. The demos, you upload them, and they also get added to DSD archive, so they are official demos. They count. They are valid runs. So yeah, it's just an awesome way to keep track of it and improve over time. And when it says lifetime, it means lifetime. None of these stats are going to go anywhere. Perhaps maybe bounty claims, but again, that's a very different beast. But yeah, your clears are not going to go anywhere. So it doesn't matter if you're planning on improving over a couple of days, weeks, months, years, perhaps even decades, who knows. Doom is probably not going to go anywhere. It's existed for so long, the community is awesome and very active, things like the index being made, and you can just take your time, start with beginner maps maybe, slowly work your way up, and yeah, do whatever you want. There is also a competitive aspect to the index. You can see it by going here to the competition section and then clicking on overview. However, if you're currently excited enough already and you just want to know how to record and submit a demo to the index right now and you don't know how to do so yet, feel free to skip to the respective chapter in the video later on. Otherwise, stick around to hear more about the yearly competitions. First, there's the bounty competition. As of the release of this video, it runs from February 14, 2026 to January 14, 2027. But I do expect the format and the time window to stay roughly the same throughout the upcoming years. It's something I can't be sure about, of course. Anyway, the goal is to have as many bounty points as possible when the competition ends, which will earn you $50 US. If you go to the bounty list section up here, you can see which bounties are available. And the bounty is pretty much just a map that has not had a valid UVMax demo made for it at all so far. And the longer it stays that way, the more points they are worth over time. So the base value, as you can see, is the same. The categories are the same, minus beginner, that is not present here. But for every 2 weeks, something stays a bounty, the base value goes up by 25%. So it keeps going up until someone claims it. Yeah, it's very cool, and you will have to figure out your own strategies and routes to be able to claim these. The second annual competition is called the DexCom. These are quarterly mini competitions where the goal is to complete 3 bespoke maps as quickly as possible. Nobody has seen these maps before, except the mappers and organizers who cannot earn points. The first map will be around fair weather difficulty, second around recruit or marine, and the third one around veteran. If this sounds familiar, you are correct. Back in December I uploaded a few videos to my channel where I made demos for a DexCom trial competition. It was a lot of fun and it went a lot better than expected, so I have a bit of an idea of how it works. If things are the same as the trial competition in December, maps will not be released at the same time, but there will be some time between them, let's say a day or so. What is different though, is that instead of the competition lasting for 1 weekend, it now lasts for 1 entire week, which personally I'm a huge fan of. It just means that if you're not available for a weekend, then you just don't get screwed over automatically. There are still bonus points for being quick, so if you go here, plus 20 points for each criteria map below, submitting within 24 hours of a map release, 12 hours, 8, 4, 2 and 1. So for maximum points, you would need to submit something within 1 hour of the map's release. And if you're the very first to do so, then you also get another 40 points. But in the grand scheme of things, that's only like a small chunk of the total points available. Most points are gained for just submitting something within the week. You get 500 points for each submission. So that would be 1,500 points, 1,500. But you also get quite a few bonus points for doing it within 24 hours. So the 1, 2, 4, 8 hours is a nice bonus, but don't worry about that too much, unless you're able to do so. The planned weeks for the DexCom competitions can be found down here, so every quarter. First one is quite soon, in April, then July, October and December. And the points get added up for all 4 competitions, and that is what determines the winner. And the winner gets a custom piece of merchandise with a design created by Kinetic. And that is it. I hope you understand what the Doomed Index is about, why I'm so excited, and hopefully some of that excitement will be transferred over to you. It's just such a cool way to keep track of your progress, share your achievements, and speaking of sharing, if you go to the homepage, there's a link here to the Discord server, which you can use to share demos, ask questions, discuss the rankings of certain maps, whatever. So feel free to look at that. And before I end, well, I'm not going to end the video because I'm still going to explain how demos work if you don't know how. But before I end the video, there is one thing I want to mention. There are a lot of difficulty tiers. And please do not be discouraged if you feel like, oh, I can't even do recruit. Because honestly, the way this is set up, even a beginner map, it's called beginner, sure. But even a beginner map is higher than average difficulty-wise. The Doomed Index is specifically made for difficult maps. If it's not on this list, it just means it either wasn't difficult enough or maybe it just doesn't fit the index in some way. But if you can clear a beginner map, that's already great. If you can do fair weather, recruit, keep in mind there's some sunless stuff in fair weather. Sunless is obviously quite a difficult WOT. Compared to some other stuff, it's not the most difficult thing out there, but it's still very much an achievement. We all have to start somewhere, and if I speak for myself, when we get to recruit Marine and up, it gets hard for me. I have done a recruit map in Haste. I think Haste map 14 was a veteran map at NaN. I think that's how you say it. That one took me quite a bit of practice, but it went well. But anything higher than that, ooh, Jaded. I can do it with enough practice, I think. I've done a platforming map, but it's different. But my long-term goal is to do an elite map. If I can do that, I would feel very accomplished. That would be so cool. I just have to find the right map, a map that suits me and my skill set, and I'm just gonna go for that someday. That is going to be my long-term goal. Maybe you can find your own long-term goal. Maybe work your way up. Maybe you just want to complete all the beginner maps, all the fair weather maps. Maybe you want to complete a veteran map someday. Vindaloo is in here. The map I made with Dragonfly, it's in veteran. 6 Minute Showdown is in here, which is also a map I made, which is in fair weather, which is probably a lot more accessible. So yeah, just play in any way you want, achieve any goal you want, and most importantly, have fun. Alright, so here is a step-by-step guide on how to maybe record your first beginner demo, which would be very nice. There will be links in the description to both programs we need. The first one is DSDA-Doom. I'm doing this from scratch, pretending as if I've never done it before. So you can look for it on Google, DSDA-Doom, and then you need to go to the GitHub link. Again, this is a link that's in the description, so you can also click it there. We go there. Then you go to releases on the very right. Make sure you have the latest one. It says latest here. Click it, scroll down. Now, you will most likely need the Windows version if you're on Windows. It ends in WinX64. So we click that to download. Then go to your downloads. Here is the zipped folder. Two ways to unzip it. Either you right click the zip file and you click extract all. What I like to do is just, in this case, drag it directly to where I want to extract it. So I'm going to put it on my E drive. So I will just click this and put it right here. The second thing we need is called DSDA Launcher. So again, link is in the description, but I'm gonna look for it right here. It again brings you to a GitHub page by Pedro. Then we go to the latest release, scroll down and download the Windows version. Once it's done, you again go to the folder or the zip file. And then in this case, there's one file in there, dsda-launcher.exe, and we are going to drag it to where we unzip the DSDA-Doom folder. So we go in here, and then I drag that file here. So now your folder should look like this. I'll zoom in a bit so you can see it more clearly. You will now need what are called the iWAT files. So Doom.wat, Doom2.wat, TNT.wat, or Plutonia.wat. That pretty much covers everything. If you've been playing on PC already, you definitely have access to them, otherwise the games wouldn't work. So check your source port folder. If you've been playing on Steam and you've been using Doom plus Doom 2, then I can show you how it works. You go to your Steam library, right click the game here, click on Manage, click Browse Local Files, then it brings you here. You go into the base folder, and here you can find both Doom.wat and Doom2.wat. I'm going to copy those and put them into this one, putting them right here. And here you also have a folder called Plutonia. So let's also put that one there. And finally, if we go one back, we go to TNT and put TNT.wat there. So now your folder should look like this. We are now going to run DSDA by using the launcher.exe. So double click it. Windows might come up with a warning that you have to run it anyway or trust it. You will also notice that it creates a file here. And then you get this screen. So first, you select the IWAT, which is either Doom, Doom 2, TNT, or Plutonia in our case. Let's just say Plutonia, because we talked about map 31 during the intro, right? Then the comp level. If you don't know anything about this, first of all, if you're recording for the Doomed Index, you can always find which comp level you need to use on the individual maps page on the index. So just go there and it will tell you what to use. But generally, comp level 2 is for vanilla stuff, usually. Then comp level 3 is Ultimate Doom, so Doom 1 pretty much. Final Doom, TNT Plutonia, comp level 4. Boom is for more modern custom stuff. And then you have MBF, which is not used that much. Some popular stuff uses it though, like Eternity 1. And then MBF 21 is used more commonly nowadays. So that's going to be the case for things released in the last 3-4 years, most likely. But just make sure you use the right comp level, otherwise your demo will not be valid. Okay, so in our case it is going to be comp level 4. Also, I think I said map 31, but I meant map 32. So here for level you enter 32. If you're playing something with an episodic structure, so let's say Doom, then you also have to enter the episode. So you would enter maybe episode 2, map 4, for example. But in our case, we're going to do Plutonia, map 32. Then you select the difficulty. 4 stands for Ultraviolence, 5 is Nightmare, then 3 Hurt Me Plenty, 2 Hey Not Too Rough, and 1 is I'm Too Young to Die. So we're gonna play Ultraviolence. Then you have different options like Fast Monsters, No Monsters, Solo Net, which is co-op placement. Let's also select the resolution for now. Now when we go in game, we will have to still adjust our controls and sensitivity and all that stuff. You will have to take some time for that. And that is pretty much it if you are going to record one of the IWAT things. So let's see. Let's just launch it. Okay, so here is the game. Now my controls are not really how I want them to be, but you can just go to options and then adjust whatever you need to adjust. Let's actually record a demo. I'm not going to use Plutonia for that. I actually downloaded sunless.wat, got it from Doom World, It Games. But before I do anything else, let's create 2 folders in my DSDA-Doom folder. I'm going to create one called Watts, going to create one called Demos. Then I will drag sunless.wat into my Watts folder. There we go. Let's go back to the launcher. And I will have to change this to Doom 2, the IWAT. Comp level will be 9. If you download Sunless, it does say in the text file that they are Boom compatible maps. So that's how you can see it. And again, if you if you're playing for the index, you're going to record something, a specific map, it also shows it there. So maybe we do God Machine, why not? Difficulty 4, that is correct. This all seems fine. Then go to the Watts tab down here, click the plus icon, and you go to the Watts folder here, and you double click sunless.wat. Then go to the demos folder, and next to record it says create, and you go to the demos folder. It's already there for me, but it probably isn't for you. There, double click it, and then let's call it, it's already here, Sunless 30 UV Max. There is an official naming scheme, but you can always rename demos later. So let's just call it this. And you don't have to add the LMP, I think, at the end, because if you don't do so, it just automatically does it for you. So let's call it this. And then down here, yep, you can see it adds it, the extension. Down here, it will show up with this red icon, meaning when you hover over it, that you are going to record a demo. So that should be everything. Now we click launch. And in the top left, you will say it says attempt 1 out of 1 for you. For me, it says 1 out of 3 because I did some testing beforehand. But if this is your first demo, it says 1 out of 1. So you can run around. You can verify that you're recording a demo if you slowly turn, because the angle at which you can turn is very limited. Let's shoot around for a bit. And then one thing that I want you to check is make sure if you go to options and then demos in DSDA, this down here, organized failed demos, is set to no. What does this do? It basically means that if you fail a demo, you die, or you don't exit, the file will not be deleted. And it can be very handy if you set this to yes, it means that when you die, the file will just be gone. And that makes it a lot cleaner. If you're doing like 200 attempts and you only care about the successful run, then you won't get 200 files in your folder. But if you want to save all demos, just make sure this is set to no. And another really important one, if you go one tab to the right to tasks, make sure strict mode is enabled. That is also very important. Okay, then we exit. And then what we can do to see if it works, we remove this one. Then we go next to playback, we click choose. We double click the demo we just created. And then down here it shows up with a green icon. It says playing sunloss 30 uvmax.lmp. So we click launch. And then I don't have to do anything because it is just playing automatically, right? It's a demo. It just recreates the inputs that we did just now. And at the bottom you can see the timer. This is also how you can download and play demos from other people. You do have to make sure that you're running the correct WAT, of course, correct settings, but this is how you can just pause the game. You don't need a video necessarily, you can just do it like this. If you go to options, key bindings, and then the miscellaneous section, there's a button for rewind. Now what this does, I'm going to put it on delete, and I also want to check options general, also miscellaneous, to see the rewind settings. These are the default settings. It goes back by 1 second. The depth is 60 seconds, so a minute, which means that you can rewind up to a minute. Alright, that's good enough. What happens is, if I press the button now, it will go back 1 second every time. You can see the timer in the bottom, and it goes back every time. This is extremely useful if you are watching someone's demo and you just want to see what happens. Maybe something miraculous happened, somehow survived, you don't know how, and you just want to rewind and see how it happens. It's so useful, so I highly recommend setting that up. Maybe Gold Machine did not go as planned, so I went for a beginner map instead. Let's say Haste Map 2. This demo here is actually a legit one. I recorded it, I think like 3-4 weeks ago for my channel when I did the video. And I'm actually going to download it here, because you will see the way I submitted it. So here's the file, but there's also a text file. So when you submit something, first of all, it needs to be in a zip folder. You also need a text file with the exact same name as the demo file. And if you look at the naming structure, it starts with the first few letters of the WAT, so has, then the map number, 02, then M, which stands for max, and then 458, which is the time of the demo. You can also include the full time, so it's not just 458, but the 83 you can add at the end as well, but no need to. And if you open the text file, you can see right here, this is what you need to include. The WAT name, of course, map, skill level, category, uvmax if you're doing it for the index, and then the source port right here with the comp level, the time, and the author is nice as well. And maybe some comments about how it went for you, how your attempts went, how you feel about the map, whatever you want. There is one way that's a lot easier though. So while you can use this templates, what you can also do is go back to the launcher. Let's see, I'm going to copy this demo and put it in, let's see, where do I have it? I have my demos right here. Oh, it's already there. Okay, fine. So I'm going to play back this demo. You can see it's right here. Make sure you choose it. Make sure you select haste.wat, of course, otherwise it doesn't play back. Make sure everything else is correct. So map 2. And what you want to add before you start is in the additional argument section, you put this here. So dash export underscore text underscore file. And then you want to make sure you set this to fast demo. When I click launch, it's going to be a bit dizzying, so sorry about that. But what you will see is if I click launch, it will play the demo as fast as possible, so you can see the bottom progress bar all the way till the end, and it analyzes the demo, and then when it's done, it closes itself, it's gone, and now you see that this text file has appeared with that exact same naming structure. So it recognizes what happened, it knows the WAT name, the PWAT, the map name, or the map slot, etc, etc. All you have to do maybe is change the author name here. Although maybe, I think if you set your name in DSDA, maybe that also automatically fixes itself. So yeah, in my opinion, the easiest way to do it, it's like this, but otherwise just use a template and fill in the stuff yourself. Then we're going to take those two files and we're going to compress them into a zip file, like that, give it the same name. And then here you have the Doomed Index demo thread. This is for 2025-2026, which is current. It may change for later years, of course, but it shouldn't be that hard to find. If this is not for the index, then every WOD has its own thread. So if I type in Sunless demos here, let's see. You can find a thread very quickly here on Doom World called Sunless plus Summer of 69, because it's related, demos. And you can post them right here if you want to upload a Sunless demo and it's not for the index. But if it is for the index, you go to the Doomed Index demo thread, then you scroll all the way down. I am not signed in. Okay, I'm logged in. You can take a look at how other people have made their posts, but most importantly, you go here. Let's see, here are my demos. I'm going to drag the file right here, and I'm going to say this is a beginner map. So let's say beginner haste map 2 UV max in 458. And then the zip file is right there, and that is pretty much all you need. This is the way to post something. If I click submit now, not going to do it because I already submitted it, but that is how you do it. You can submit multiple maps at a time, and this, if the demo is considered valid, then it will be added and you will get your points. That should pretty much cover everything. If I've forgotten something or there is anything that's unclear, please leave a message in the comments and I will try my best to answer it. If you're unsure about like a template still somehow, you can always download other people's demos. My page is right here. These are all valid. They're on the DSD archive. I will probably put this link in the description as well. So you can just download any demo, doesn't matter what it is. Like my Eternity 2 detail is on here. You can click it and it will download it. Open the zip file, and again, this is the naming scheme that I use for this one. TXT file. Oh yeah, and then the individual map names, which normally probably won't really be needed. I added a little comment here. Oh, my first detail. So yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoy recording your own demos. I hope you enjoy the Doomed Index. It's a lot of fun. I'm gonna record more myself. And one last thing, if you're curious about how I got my stats in DSDA the way I did, because normally if I go to my own version, let's say I actually launched Sunless, you can see my stats in the HUD on the bottom left, right? I made a video about that quite a while ago, I think like 1.5, 2 years ago, but it's still relevant, still works the same way as far as I know. So if you want to know how to do that for when you're playing, maybe you just set up DSDA for the first time, go look up that video. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope this was all clear and helpful, and enjoy!